Over the course of the show's long 61-year history, it was inevitable that the show would naturally make mistakes. Some of these are very simple mistakes, like a piece of camera equipment being caught in the frame, and some are way more serious that change the projection of the show forever. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Doctor Who's biggest mistake, and it might not be as obvious as you lot think. Firstly, let me say no. The biggest mistake that Doctor Who has ever made isn't the 13th Doctor's era or Chris Chibnall. I think they have some negatives and flaws, but also think there's some good in there, and I definitely don't think it's the biggest mistake Doctor Who's ever made. And this also applies to the 6th Doctor's era, an era that a lot of people say cancelled the show and got it off air, which no, was not the case, and I think the era is heavily overhated. In my humble opinion, I personally believe that Doctor Who's biggest mistake and Doctor Who's second biggest mistake is the fact that they destroyed Gallifrey yet again and the TV movie. And no, it isn't the fact that I hate the TV movie. I actually really adore the TV movie, and it's one of my favourite pieces of Doctor Who media. And I'm kind of lumping these two together, although the thumbnail will only have the Gallifrey one in there, because I really do want to talk about my issues with, you know, how they dealt with Paul McGann. Because I do genuinely believe it was one of Doctor Who's biggest mistakes and downright just criminal not giving Paul McGann, the 8th Doctor, a full series in some capacity. Of course it can be avoided, but only using Paul McGann for the movie is an absolute shame, and the fact we haven't really seen any on-screen TV appearances aside from a little short for the 50th and Power of the Doctor for Paul McGann's Doctor is a shame. Of course he's got loads of Big Finish stuff which has really redeemed his Doctor and really shown off Paul McGann, but, you know, it's not as good as on screen, and it never will be. That's all I wanted to say about the TV movie. Other than that, I think the TV movie is great, and, you know, of course it has flaws, and people will criticize it, and I think a lot of the criticism that people do have is fair, but I adore it, I love it, I think it's great. But oh boy, here we go. Doctor Who redestroying Gallifrey is arguably its biggest mistake ever, and you can't argue with me. Gallifrey being destroyed the first time was fine. It was actually great for the Doctor. The whole mythos around Gallifrey being destroyed and just Gallifrey in general and the Time War was great. It set the Doctor up for this whole depression emo arc the Doctor went on from Christopher Eccleston to Peter Capaldi, and it was incredible. And it was equally as incredible when the 11th Doctor brought Gallifrey back, and then the 12th Doctor confronted the Time Lords on Gallifrey when it wasn't destroyed and it was saved. The Doctor being able to redeem himself there was an incredible moment for the 50th anniversary and really set a brand new story for the Time Lords in Gallifrey, one that could have been followed up for several Doctors to come. However, Doctor Who, but more specifically Chris Chibnall, had other plans for Gallifrey. Now this isn't about the 13th Doctor's era specifically, because I do think it is overhated, but my god. Chris Chibnall introduced the Timeless Child plot with the Doctor. Okay, I don't like it, but you could have done it without destroying Gallifrey. There was no need for the Master to find out and then immediately obliterate all Time Lords and Gallifreyans. It was just unnecessary. Not only was it just unnecessary for the Master to do this, it was also unrealistic for the Master to take out every single Time Lord in Gallifreyan. It made no sense, but it also just undercut the other years of development, the 50th anniversary, the redemption the Doctor got. All that progress the Doctor made and the showrunners and Doctor Who put into crafting this brand new Doctor arc had been absolutely demolished and has been demolished. We're back at square one, where the Doctor is the last surviving Time Lord and is all lonely, sad and emo. We're right back with Christopher Eccleston in 2005 in terms of actual progress within the Doctor. The Doctor is the last surviving Time Lord, and, you know, he's still pretty angry about it. So much more could have been done with Gallifrey and the Time Lords than what was done here. Just look at stuff like the End of Time. Look when Peter Capaldi's 12th Doctor confronted Gallifrey, the Time Lords, and that was great. Why can't we see more of that? Why does Gallifrey always have to be destroyed in New Who? We barely got any time with Gallifrey before it was just obliterated again. Or more so the people, the Time Lords, you know, the Gallifreyans, the most important bit, right, the interesting bit. And to add salt to the wounds, right, Chris Chibnall didn't even have the balls to follow through with the Timeless Child thing, so doing this to Gallifrey basically meant nothing, because the Timeless Child thing also meant nothing because of backlash, and Chris Chibnall, you know, backed down. Regardless if you like the Timeless Child, at least if he went through with the Timeless Child bit and Gallifrey was still, you know, kaput, it would have made sense, right? We would have got something for it. But instead, we got a plot that went nowhere, and the Doctor just didn't end up really caring, and Gallifrey is again back at square one. At least in New Who, this is Doctor Who's biggest mistake, arguably. You have cut down tons of character development, years of progress, for nothing. For literally nothing. The Timeless Child arc will never be followed up again without a few mentions that the Doctor isn't from Gallifrey. That's about it. For me, it's such a big bugbear because it was just so unnecessary to do this. To leave Gallifrey again in tatters. I just think it's one of the most pointless decisions and one of Doctor Who's biggest mistakes, and I really don't see how they're going to be able to retcon this where, you know, the Time Lords are back and alive and Gallifrey isn't on flames. Like, how would you go from there? Like how would you progress Gallifrey or the Time Lords ever again? You can't do the same thing you did in the 50th anniversary. For one, it wouldn't make any sense, and two, it would just be lazy if you did anything even close to that, and three, it was the Master that did it in the first place. So where can we go from here? There's nothing left. Chris Chibnall kind of screwed Gallifrey and the Time Lords in this respect. And although it's not the thing people focus on, with a lot of people focusing on the Timeless Child, at least he tried to do something and attempted a story beat. Here, it was just unnecessary and doing it for the sake of doing it, and trying to, I don't know, restore New Who to the status quo, and it just didn't work or pay off. But what do you think? What is Doctor Who's biggest mistake? As you can quite clearly see, I'm very passionate about this, and it annoys me to this day. So please, feel free, comment down below, what is Doctor Who's biggest mistake in your opinion, and we can talk about it down there. But I've been your host Samuel, and while you're down there, you might as well leave a like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next YouTube video.